topic of today is, what is your understanding of love? What is your understanding of love? It's important that we all have the right perspective and the right understanding of love. And unfortunately, many of us who think that we know everything to be known about love, when we get involved in love situation, we discover that we come short. And the reason why we come short is that we don't know as much as we're supposed to know. We have not been informed enough. By the way, Edwin and Mimi, I have not replied to you that I got the books you sent to me. So I just want you to know that the books were delivered. I got them. So thank you so much, Edwin and Mimi, for the books. So what is your understanding of love? What is your understanding of love is the topic of today. And I think it will be good sometime to examine ourselves. What is your concept of love? And I'm talking of not just love for God now, but I'm talking about love for people. Not just love for husband and wife, not just intersexual love, not just love between sex, but I'm talking about love between people, love in general. And so what is your understanding of love? What is your understanding of love? So we need to be able to answer that question. It's going to help you. Because if your understanding of love is incomplete, you might be suffering as a result. And you will not know that what is actually making you to suffer is your understanding. You see, our understanding is what determines our actions. Our understanding is what determines our behavior. So you behave in accordance to what you understand, to what your understanding about one thing or the other is. For example, if your understanding about life is that, like me, I used to have, because I came from Africa, I came from a very poor village in Nigeria. And I remember that when I was growing up in that village, I never even got to taste juice, fruit juice. I never even saw one when I was in Nigeria, number one. Number two, the only sweet beverage that I was able to taste was Coca-Cola or, Fanta, those kind of gas beverages. And the only time I get to drink that, Coca-Cola or Fanta or Sprite, is only when there is a party. When there is a party in our community. So if there is anybody having a party and, maybe they are burying somebody, sometimes you have to pray that somebody will die, because in our place, people like to bury people and funeral. When they are doing their funeral, they have parties. So, and I'm from Ijebu, And because I'm so poor, I couldn't afford to buy a bottle of Coke or Sprite. So what I do, and not just me, with my friends, is that we go and actually go and join the party and try to help them carry some shares and help them out, so do one thing or the other. And as a result, we'll begin to drink. They will give us opportunity to eat, because there will be times I will not even have anything to eat in the first place. So parties like that will be my own opportunity of having a lunch or dinner. So when I now escaped from Nigeria and I came here on scholarship to Europe, foolishness caught up with me. My foolishness caught up with me. And in what sense? Because I've been drinking only water. And because juice was like a luxury to me. Juice and beverages were like luxury to me. So when I came to Europe, I just turned my back. I said, I'm going to overcompensate myself. I decided to compensate myself, and I decided to get rid of water from my menu. I removed water altogether. I said, water, I've overdrank that water in Africa. Why should I be drinking water when there is juice? And in this place, the price of juice at that time was the same thing as the price of water, and the price of juice and beverages were just as cheap, so cheap. I just said I would never drink water again. I didn't know that was deadly. Ignorance. So what am I saying? My understanding was wrong. My understanding was that now that I can have opportunity to drink beverages, now that I can drink juice, I'm going to retaliate. That was a bad case. What you drink water not because you are poor. You drink water because it's a necessity for life. But nobody ever told me that water is a necessity for life. I never had that before. That you need water for existence. And for your survival. In my village, nobody needed to tell you that because that's the only thing you needed to drink anyway. That was the only thing we had to drink. And because I was drinking that so much in Africa, I just thought that that was suffering because that was a sign of poverty, and people who had money were the only people drinking juice and beverages. So now that I could afford to drink all kind of beverages that I needed, so I just turned my back. I just turned my back on water. Do you know what? For the next 7 years, I never tasted water. For the next 7 years. Can you believe it? For the next 7 years, I didn't drink water at all. Until I was admitted in the hospital. And the reason why I was admitted in the hospital was I was having, what do you call this? When you have too much, not just sugar, and fat in your, I think, what do you call it? What do you call that fat, when you have fat in your blood? What do you call that? Cholesterol. Yes, I was, I was bigger than this, I was heavy, I didn't know, I thought it was just okay, but so I was admitted in the hospital. They didn't know why. And then that was when they told me that it was cholesterol. It was cholesterol that I got. I got cholesterol. And they were saying, do you drink water? How much water do you drink? I said, water. I don't drink water at all. You don't drink water at all? For how long? I said, for 7 years now. Probably. And you are still alive. You've not been drinking water for 7 years. Can you believe that? Now, what am I saying? What you don't know, your understanding determines your action. Your understanding determines your behavior. So my wrong understanding that juice was good was about to kill me. My wrong understanding that sweet was good was about to kill me. My wrong understanding that beverages were good were about to kill me. Was about to kill me. So what am I saying here? Understanding is everything. Now, but we are not talking about the understanding of water now, because that's not the topic for today. The topic for today is understanding of love. What is your understanding of love? And the reason why I'm asking that question is, the reason I'm asking this question is, just like my own wrong understanding of not drinking water and of water became my enemy, almost killed me. That is how somebody's house, somebody who is watching us right now, or your understanding of love might have been killing you right there. Maybe your wrong understanding of love is killing your relationships. Maybe your wrong understanding of love right now is killing your relationship between your family members. Maybe your wrong understanding of love is killing the relationship between you and your parents. or maybe it has killed it. Maybe your parents are now dead and gone. Your wrong understanding of love might be doing damage to you, to your family, to your health, and to your relationship in general. So what is your understanding of love? What is your understanding of love is the topic of today. Some families are suffering today because of wrong understanding of love. Because your understanding might be coming from where you've grown up in. Your understanding might be coming in from the company, from the association that you had in your past. Your understanding might be informed by what your parents did, or what you saw your neighbors did, or what your people from your tribe did. And what your tribe did, the way they treated other people, the way they understood love, might not be the right understanding. And that understanding might be dangerous, and it might even be killing people around you and people in your life. And that is why love could be catastrophic sometimes. As wonderful as love is, even though love is one of the greatest discoveries of humanity, and even though love is one of the greatest God's blessing that he has given to man, that same love might be the most disastrous thing if you don't have the right understanding of love. So if you think that your own understanding of love is that a woman is supposed to be quiet, serving, and quietly serving the husband, and that is love, and if the only way, because there are some people and there are some cultures that the only way they express love as a woman, the only way a woman can express love is for her to be quiet and to be silent and never to have her own opinion. If that is your school of thought, if that is your understanding of love, you might be killing somebody. You might be ruining another person's life. You might be ruining another person's destiny. And you don't even know it. To you, that is the only right thing to do. You might be coming from a culture or from a place where the understanding of love that you have is that a man takes all the decisions, and a man's word should never be queried and should never be questioned. So as a result, anytime your wife tries to question you, you think that she's a rebel, or you think that she's being difficult, or you might think that she is disobedient. And so you begin to have conflict and strifes and disagreements and all kinds of quarrels just because of your wrong understanding of love. Let me tell you another story of what happened to me when I went to Nigeria. After living in Europe for some time, I was speaking at a church in Nigeria. I went there with my wife. So each time they would introduce me and my wife to the stage, of course, I would do the only normal thing that I've now learned to be correct to do. Because some of those times, if they have the staircases that you have to take to come up, the stairs to climb up. So I climb up and I'm bringing my wife. So as my wife is climbing with me, I give her a hand naturally. And she comes up to the stage. And the church members in Nigeria will begin to shout and scream just because you give a hand to your wife. That is so elementary. But it's like, to them, it's just like a furor. It's just like a scandal. So in one particular church, I also wanted to honor the pastor of that church and his wife. So I invited them. I introduced the pastor. He invited me. So I wanted just to honor him. I wanted to thank him and greet him. So I invited the pastor and his wife to come forward. You can't believe what was happening. The man just stood up from his place and just walked right off to the stage. And the wife had, the skirt, the long skirt. And for her to climb, she had to, like the wedding gown, she had to, carry the, make the skirt come up. And she was having a hard time. So I was running to help the lady, the wife of the pastor. She was not my wife. She was the wife of the pastor. I was the one who was running there to help her. And as I was helping her, giving her a hand to come up to the stage, people were shouting. "Oh!" So I said, okay, no, I'm going to stop now. So I called the man. I said, you have invited me here because you respect me. Do you respect me? He said, yes. I said, you invited me here because you respected me. Now, if you respect me, you must now do what I am doing now. Why should I be giving your wife a hand and you are standing there? And this man is a bishop, he's a big guy. So if a whole bishop could not even give a hand to his wife, that is a mindset problem right there. That is an understanding of love right there. And you know what he told me? He said, well, I can do it if you ask me to do it. I can do it if you ask me to do it. I said, so if I don't ask you to do it, you not do it. He said, yeah, because it's not our culture. It's just because you are coming from Europe. Nobody does that here in Nigeria. Yes, nobody does that here in Nigeria. But she's about to fall. What about if she falls right now? She could fall. Don't you see she's struggling? Does it have to be your culture before you could help somebody who is about to fall? She said, okay, if you tell me to do it, I will do it. But you see the way the people are reacting, it's not our culture. It's not accepted here. So I said, okay, if you don't do it, I'm going to do it for your wife. I am going to take care of your wife. While you are alive and while you are present here, I am going to do what you are supposed to do to your wife. I am going to treat your wife with honor. I am going to treat your wife with dignity. I am going to honor, respect, and treat your wife like a lady in your presence while you are trying to give me excuses. So he now came and started giving her a hand, and the whole church just erupted and stood up and started laughing and screaming. Now, so they think I was in error. They said that one will not go here. That will not go here. That will not go in Nigeria. That culture, that is European culture. It's not our culture. It will not go here. What about if the person really needs the help? That is what I'm talking about, understanding of love. So what is your own understanding of love? Is that your own understanding of love, that you cannot do acts of, not even romance, I would not even call that romance, just acts of, what do you call it? Acts of kindness, acts of care, acts of civil acts, just, what do we call it? Acts of just gentleman acts. Those are just gentleman acts. But if you come from that culture where they said that, or where they say that etiquette, some little etiquette, but if they tell you that for you to serve your wife, yeah, act of courtesy, that's good, that's what I was looking for. A simple act of courtesy like that. A simple act of love, courtesy, respect, honor. A simple act of decency. And you are saying it's an insult. They are going to say I am not a man, that I am under the shoe of under the shoe or the heel of my wife. So if you are coming from that kind of understanding of love, if that is your own understanding of love, what do you expect in that kind of family? What do you expect? Somebody is going to be surprised, my dear. If that is the kind of love, and that's the kind of culture you are coming from, if that is the kind of environment you are coming from, someone is not happy in your home. So I now ask the woman, I said, how do you feel? She said, I feel great. She said, I feel great. Pastor, come on, Pastor, do it. So, even though the pastor had thought that the wife will also say it's not our culture. But the wife doesn't think so. The wife was agreeing with me. Culture or no culture, everybody wants to be honored. Everybody would like to be honored. Everybody likes it when they are being honored, celebrated, and yeah, and just being nice to them. When you be nice to them. So even African women like it when you take care of them. So, what am I saying? I'm just using that as an example that our culture or our family or our environment or our company, wherever we were, could reflect on us. Wherever we grow up in, what we were exposed to, what we were being told, how we were brought up, could affect the way we love. It will affect the way we love. For example, in my culture, where we come from, African culture mainly, but my culture is very prominent for this, Yoruba culture, we have been taught to respect the elderly people. So, do you know, somebody just told me this story a few months ago. Because of that, a lot of Nigerian people and a lot of African people have received a lot of favor. This man told me this. He went to study in the United States of America. And one day, he saw an elderly woman that was carrying bags and coming out of her car and struggling. And you know, there were many people, they are white people. But this Nigerian man is used to respecting and treating elderly people with honor. So he just left, he was just passing by. He was just passing by, but there were other neighbors there, many other people there, but he was only passing by. But when he saw that old woman struggling like that, he just left everything and he went to help the woman, take the bags, took her home, you know, opened the door, and then the woman said, "Who are you?" He said, "Where are you from?" He said, "You have an accent. I'm from Nigeria." "Okay. Why did you come to help me? What is the problem?" He said, "No, I just see that you're an elder," and immediately started calling her mama, mama. You know that is so natural for where we're coming from. You know, we call elderly people who deserve to be like our mothers or our parents. We call them mama. So this woman was so nice, and she said, "Okay, give me your telephone number." So they started communicating. He would come to visit her during the holidays. He didn't know that she was a chief judge. And that was the woman God used to help him get a green card. He was only visiting the country. He was studying. He was not on scholarship. He was struggling. This woman helped him to get a green card, to get a residence in America. And after that, this woman, helped him to get a job in America. And this man became a famous lawyer. And he became so influential in America. And he went back to Nigeria and so successful and all that. So why? Just because of, right attitude, right training, right understanding. So what am I saying? Understanding means a lot. Understanding is everything. Understanding. So what is your own understanding when it comes to love? So, if love in your own understanding includes helping people, it will take you a long way. But if love, because there are some people who believe that they should only love their immediate family. Or many Europeans are like that. Many Western people are like that. They only show love to their immediate family members. Well, if that's your own understanding of love, you're going to suffer, because Other people are going to be suffering around you, and you are not going to be contributing to it. And so when you suffer, nobody is going to contribute to it. What is your own understanding of love? And I want us to examine some aspect of love and its understanding today. Let me tell you some of the wrong understanding of love that a lot of us have come to embrace, unfortunately. Many people who are here listening to me today, you have come to embrace the wrong concept, the wrong understanding. So what is your understanding? I want you to challenge your mind. I want you to challenge your understanding in terms of love. And we're not just talking of in terms of love for your husband or for your wife or for your nucleus family. And I'm not just talking about love in terms of your extended family. What is your understanding of love in general? How do you understand love in relations to your country? Can you believe it that at the time that I left Nigeria, I never had any concept about love for Nigeria or for my country. I didn't know how I could demonstrate love for my country, apart from praying. So you could pray, but how do I practically love my country? I didn't know that the concept of love relates to a country. And many people still don't know that love has anything to do with the country. And that if I am a person of love, and if I say I understand love, that love must be reflected, not just in my immediate environment or in my immediate community or in my immediate family. That love must also be seen and be expressed to the world at large, to my world. My love must affect not just people who are close to me, not just people who are my friends or who have something to gain from me or I have something to gain from them, but that love must be expressed. So when I'm talking about your understanding of love, I'm talking of what is your understanding of love in relations to your neighbor. That is what Jesus was trying to teach with the story of the Samaritan lady. You remember the story of the Samaritan man? And the lawyer, the person who came to ask Jesus that question, was saying, who is my neighbor? Who is my neighbor? Who is my neighbor? Who is my neighbor? I'm okay. I love God. I love people. So, but Jesus said, do you love your neighbor? Who is my neighbor? I love my wife. I love my son. I love my parents. I love my brothers and sisters. I love my church members. So what else do you want? Who is my neighbor? What is your concept of love when it comes to your neighbor? I had a story yesterday that's very sad. Somebody was telling me, after reading my book, Only God Can Save Nigeria, one person that read that book was telling me the story that in Nigeria and in Africa in general, our concept of love is just to God and to maybe not even to our family, to God, to our relatives maybe. And that there's church members that cannot even eat 3 square meals. And they will not be helped. They will not be helped. Nobody even cares. I'm talking of churches where there are millionaires and billionaires. I'm talking of churches where each member will bring 1 billion naira, 100 million naira, 10 million naira, 20 million naira as tithe, as offering. Just like that, give to the church. Whereas in that same church, there will be people sitting down who have not eaten for 2 or 3 days. They don't even have 100 naira. Somebody told me, this person was telling me that he once challenged his church members, friends, or his friends, believers, that why will you take so much money to the church and not give, and you are passing by the needy, in your neighborhood and in the streets. Africa is full of so many people in the streets, poor, just horrific pictures and situations. So poor people everywhere in the street. Why don't you give these people some money? You know the excuse? I never heard this thing before, but I'm going to tell you. These people said, Christians, no. Don't give money to somebody you don't know. Don't give money to someone you don't know. Because if you give money to that person you don't know, either who is in the, even if the person is your church member, or the person is just somebody in the street, if you give money to someone you don't know, that person could take that money and take it to the black magic man, to the juju man. And if they take it to the juju man, and the black magic will use that money and make some magic so that you will be poor as well, or so that the money from you will come to the other guy, and you will now be the poor. You will exchange destiny, and you will now be the one poor outside. What is all that? This is talking about wrong understanding of love. We think that love only relates to God. That is a wrong understanding of love. If your love is not good enough for your neighbor, you don't love God at all. You don't have love for God. If you cannot love your neighbor, if you cannot prove your love to God by what you do to people you don't know, don't tell me you have love. You don't have love. You don't have love. What is your understanding of love? And this is what Jesus was trying to address. You remember in Matthew chapter 5. I'm going to read it. In Matthew chapter 5. Jesus was addressing this same concept of love. And he said, you have heard that it was said, you should love your neighbor and hate your enemy. See, wrong understanding of love. That is the kind of thing Jesus was talking about. Wrong understanding of love. Jesus came 2,000 years ago to correct the wrong understanding of love. And Jesus came and said, at the time Jesus came, the understanding of love was only love people who love you. Only love your friends. Only love people who love you. Tooth for tooth, eye for an eye. But you don't need to love people who don't love you. As a matter of fact, it was worse. They were actually believing that you have the right to hurt people who don't love you. People who hate you, that you have the right to hurt them. That you have the right to hate them back. That if somebody doesn't like you, if somebody hates you, that you don't have to love them. That you should hate them as well. And if they are your enemies, you must hate them. You should not love them. So that is the problem. And Jesus came 2,000 years ago to give us the right understanding of love. But after 2,000 years, there are still churches today, my friend. There are still churches today where they are teaching people to pray against their enemies. What kind of understanding of love is that Jesus came to change this very thing. That love must not be only to your friends or to your family people or to people who treat you well. This is the very same thing Jesus came to correct. That is a wrong understanding of love. What is your understanding of love today? Is for you and to you. Is love only for people that are nice to you? Well, let's hear what Jesus says about that. It says in verse 46, for if you love those who love you, if you only love those who love you, if you only love those who love you, what reward have you? What reward do you have? What is your reward? Heaven does not reward those who only love those who love them. Listen to me. Love. If your love is only limited to your family members, heaven does not reward you. If your love is only towards people who like you, who love you, heaven does not reward you. You don't get heavenly reward. There are no heavenly rewards. If your love is only about giving to the church, if your love is only towards your church, if your love is only towards God, because God can give you back, God does not reward you for it. You don't get rewarded if you only love those who love you. Because God loves you, you give him money to God. Because God loves you, that's why you are giving tithe and offering to him, so that he could give you more. You are just what do you call it? You are just after your own interest. You are simply after your own gain. You are after your own gain. You don't love anybody. You don't really love God. If you really love God, you will not just give to the God that you don't see. If you really love God, you will not just be giving to the church. If you really love God, you will begin to give to people who cannot give to you back. You will begin to give to people who cannot say thank you to you. You will begin to give to people who will not remember your name, who will not put your name in the registry. You will begin to do good to everybody. That is the whole essence of the story of the Good Samaritan. What, therefore, is your understanding of love? What is your own understanding of love? What is your understanding of love? What is your understanding of love? Is your understanding of love exact same thing that Jesus was trying to correct 2,000 years ago? 2,000 years ago, and it's still not gotten to us. My. He said, if you only love those who love you, what reward have you? Do not even the tax collectors, the very same people you think that are sinful, that are sinners, that are bad, the people you call bad do the same thing. So why do you think you are good? Why do you think you are a believer? You are a Christian. The tax collectors do the same. And if you greet only your brethren, if you only greet your church members, if you are only good to Christians, if you are only good to Christians, if you are only good to Christians, some of us are not even good. We are not even good to Christians. We are not good to all Christians, especially if those Christians are from other churches. We are not good to people who are not from our church. And the Bible is saying here, if you are only good to people who are your brethren, if you are only good to your church members, and you know what we do today? We go and print stickers and put stickers in our cars and put stickers all over ourselves so that people will know, I'm from that church, I'm from this church, so you must be good to me. We belong to the same church. Is that your understanding of love? 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 The Bible said, if that is your understanding, if that is your understanding, if that is your understanding, you are at a loss, my dear. You are at a loss. You have lost everything. You are at a loss. You are at a loss. If you greet only your brethren, what do you do? That's to impress God. You've not done anything that will impress God. You've not done anything than others. God is not impressed, and God is not going to. There is no reward for you. What is your understanding of love? We all need to re-examine our hearts. We all need to re-examine our lives. We think we are good sometimes, but we don't even know what mark God is giving us. We think we are passing, or maybe we are really failing. We think we are good. Maybe God is actually giving us failure mark. We think we are Christians. Maybe God is even saying we are worse than the Sadducees. Maybe God is saying we are worse than the Pharisees. And maybe God is saying we are worse than all those people that we despise in the Bible. We could be worse than them. Now, there are a lot of us who are Christians, especially we Africans. We condemn other people, and we think that we are better than those ones who say, fall down and die. You think you are better than those people who do that? You think you are better than those people who pray for their enemies to die? Maybe you don't pray for your enemy to die. All right? Maybe you don't say fall down and die. But you will still not go out of your way. You will still not go out of your way. Mm-hmm. You will still not go out of your way to take care of people who are not known to you. You will still not go out of your way to use your tithe or your offering to take care of the needy in your environment or your village or in your street. You will still not do that. Your Christianity has not got into that one. Your Christianity has not got into that one. So in God's eye, you are just the same as that one that says fall down and die. That one is killing them, but you are neglecting them. And you know what God told that guy that says, who is my neighbor? God showed him the story of the Pharisee. We like to point finger at Muslims. We think they are worse. We think they are bad. We think they are worse than us. And God said, look at that Pharisee. I mean, that Samaritan. You think he's not a believer? You think he's not going to heaven? And I'll tell you he's going to heaven. He is going. Because he has the right spirit. He loves for real. It's not just loving the God that he doesn't see. It's not just loving his members or his family members. It's loving his neighbor for real. Jesus said, but I say to you, love your enemies. What's your own understanding of love? Is your own understanding of love as good enough as loving enemies? Is your love good enough as loving enemies? Is your understanding of love good enough to love your enemies? Is your understanding of love good enough to bless those who curse you? Is your understanding of love good enough, Christian enough, to do good to those who hate you? Is your understanding of love good enough to pray for those who despitefully use you? Is your understanding of love good enough to pray and to bless those who persecute you? Is your understanding of love good enough to be like your Father who is in heaven? What does he do? Your Father who is in heaven, he makes sun to rise upon the good and upon the bad. He makes his sun, he sends his sun both to the evil and to the good, and sends rain on the just and on the unjust, on the righteous and the unrighteous. That is the kind of understanding of love that God requires us to have. That is the kind of love that God wants us to have. So what is your own understanding of love? Is it just the kind of love that stops at your doorstep? Is it the kind of love that stops at your church doorstep? And that is why some people don't understand me. And I said, and I've proved it from the scriptures, that some of you need to stop taking those your tithes and those your offering to some churches where they are being abused, where your money is being squandered, and where your money just going to the pastor only, and where you don't see the good work that the church is doing with your money. If you don't see the good work that the church is doing with your money, if you don't see the good work that the church is doing with your money, you know what? You better take that money and use it to take care of the poor and the needy. Go and use it for acts of love. It's better for you to do that than to take it to some people that you don't know what they will do with that money. I know what you are thinking. You are going to be quoting to me Malachi chapter 3, right? I've preached that more than you've been a Christian, maybe. But if I'm saying what I'm saying now, it means that I know better. And if you want to know my thought about this and my convictions about this, go look for my message. It's on my YouTube page. It's on my blog. It's tithe only for the church. Is tithe only meant for the church? You go and search for that video. I've given a video. I've done an hour message on is tithe only for the church. Or you could go and look for my series on the church. Go and look for my series that I did on the church. And you will discover that the storehouse is not just the church. And the tithe is not only for the church. And the tithe is not only for the pastor. And that there are other scriptures that is talking about tithe. We are behaving as if Malachi 3 is the only place where the Bible says, the Bible talks about tithe and offering. No, it's not the only place where the Bible talks about tithe and offering. There are other places Bible talks about tithe and where to take tithe to. But we only hang on, we preachers, we are the ones who have taught you people wrong. And we only hang on to the one where it talks about the storehouse. But the storehouse is not even the church in the first place. The storehouse is not talking about the church. Just for you to know. Go and study it. That's why Jesus was not preaching that. He only mentioned tithe one time. But he was using tithe to rebuke the Pharisees. And he said that you have elevated tithe above acts of love and mercy. Whereas you are supposed to exalt acts of love and mercy above tithe. But you are supposed to do the tithe too, but not only to the church. You must do tithe too, but not only to the church. You must do tithe also, but not only to the church. So, what is your own understanding of love? What is your own understanding of love in regards to not just your neighbor? What's your own understanding of love in regards to your wife? In regards to your children? What's your own understanding of love in regards to your relatives? You know, so many people are fighting with their relatives. So many people are fighting with their family members. So many people are in crisis, conflicts, irresolvable conflicts with their family members. And you know the reason most of the time? Because of the wrong understanding of love. Because of the wrong understanding of love. Everybody is thinking that it deserves better. Wrong understanding of love. If you really understand love, it doesn't really matter how people treat you or what they give you or what they don't give you, what you deserve or what you don't deserve. If you really understand real love, if you have the right understanding of love, it's not about what people do to you or how people treat you anymore. It's about what you do. It's about you doing the right thing. It's all about you doing the right thing. It's about you doing what you need to do. It's about you doing what you need to do. What's your understanding of love in regards to your country? What's your understanding of love in regards to the world we live in? What's your understanding of love? Everything depends on understanding, you see. think depends on understanding. What is your understanding of love? What is your understanding of love? You will act in accordance to your understanding. You will behave in accordance to your understanding. Your understanding will dictate your manners, and your understanding will dictate your character. What is love to you? Where does your love stop? The Bible says anybody who says that he loves God and he doesn't love his neighbor, that the person is deceiving himself. He does not know God. You cannot say you know God or you love God without loving your neighbor. You can't. It's a deception. Self-deception. Your love for God is only measured by your love for people. What is your own understanding of love? Wrong understanding of love is just deadly. Some people are going to go to hell because of wrong understanding of love. Some people are going to go to hell because of wrong understanding of love. Jesus said, by this will people know that you are my disciple. By how much you love. The only criteria by which people will know that you are his disciples or not. Not by how much you go to church. Not by how much money you give there. Not by how long you sit in church or how frequent you are in church. No. Just by, not even by how much you love him, but by how much you love each other. It's all about how much you love people, other people. How much you love your neighbor is what makes people know that you are his disciple. That's the only thing you really need. Loving people for real. What is your understanding of love? Are you having the wrong understanding of love? Let's search our hearts. Let's search our hearts and find out what is our understanding of love. Is it a faulty one? Is it a real one? Is it a genuine one? What is your understanding of love? Wrong or right understanding of love? It's a fundamental question. Nothing more important than it. Let's go back to the rudiments of love. Let's go back to the very basis of love. And let's begin to put love above any other religious practices and postulate. Because at the end of the day, God is love. And if God is love, then what else do you need? What else do you need? If you have God, if love, you have God. If you really love for real, you have discovered the most important thing in life. What is your understanding of love? It's all about understanding. It's all about understanding. Nice being with you guys. Have a wonderful evening. God bless. Bye.